I was talking to some other companies today, and I said, stop putting the word AI in everything you do. Like it's okay to talk about your products and how they benefit your customers. Like, I mean, we know that you have AI, we know that you need it, but tell them that it's not going to work and focus unless they have the data. Get the data right, and then things will work out.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number 1 priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello, welcome to Analyst Gone Wild. This is a wild day. It's a Friday, Sam. I mean, we're back at it again.
That was a wild view, so I removed that. Now this is better, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we got Tom, Don, Charles, me, Sam, and we got a baseball team here. And it's Friday. Let's talk a little bit about ourselves and what we got going on. And I know it's I think we're winding down. Charles, we were just talking about some of the meetings coming up. I think we're kind of winding those down. We all have some summer breaks, maybe. But Robert Kramer with Kramer ERP. I went off to my own consulting practice. It's actually going pretty well, and specializing in ERP, thank you, and SCM and data and security. And we got to bring AI into the mix. But as Thomas always says, it's only a tool, and it's there to help us out. If we don't have the data behind it, it's not going to work. But I'm here to talk a little bit about new business opportunities with Kramer ERP and how I can help people, but add value to this group, which is an amazing one. Charles, I'll see you Sunday, hopefully. So what's going on with you?
Miami? Yeah, so now I'm looking forward to heading to the great city of Orlando. Charles Brennan here with Nucleus Research, covered the supply chain, ERP, manufacturing space, and all the beautiful products that come underneath that. So I've been with the organization about 3 to 4 years now, come from an e-commerce background. Yeah, looking to discuss the great topics here. Was traveling in, was I in Nashville this week, was in San Francisco the week prior, was in Atlanta prior to that. So been a lot of travel coming up for the next couple of weeks, but busy is good for business. That's the way I look at it. So
Don, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. Yeah, I'm Donald Farmer, Treehive Strategy. And I've been pretty busy, been traveling a lot as well. But some of it's been personal. That's been fun. And I, like everybody else, I spend half my time trying to help my clients who are mostly software vendors struggle with AI and what they're going to do about it and how they're going to integrate it and how they're going to live in an AI world. I guess I spend the other half of my time wondering why I'm not retired. And these two things may be very closely related,
Probably. Thomas, how's it going? You're in the the South Carolina area now, and so enjoying that, or how's it going?
Of course, I'm enjoying that.
Have you seen any alligators or anything running around the streets there?
Not on the streets, but in the pools. My pool only has seen ducks so far.
Oh yeah, what do you do for the ducks? You put it. You know how you get rid of the ducks? You
get rid of them. I'll have the dog hunt them down because
put a blow up alligator in the pool. I have one.
Might be the solution. Might be the solution.
I'm like, will you guys get out of here? So anyway, go ahead.
Well, else I'm taking care of CRM vendors or CRM-ish vendors, their solutions and their customers, which keeps me quite busy because, with all this AI that Donald mentioned, there are lots of moving parts, which is fun, which also prevents me from going to Orlando next week because guess what? Got some work to do.
There you go. It's probably going to be a little hot there too, don't you think, Charles?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Hot. It's a lot of walking because, you stay in that hotel there and you got to walk all the way across to the convention center. It's pretty big. Sam, how are we doing?
Yeah, doing great. I was at a conference yesterday. I tried to go to customer conferences, I guess. So this was a small conference with Epicor and Encompass is the company. So yeah, nice speaking engagement. That's what I look for. Sam Gupta, principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent vendor agnostic technology advisory firm. And I'm also host of the WBS Talks. Robert, over to you.
Well, good. So anything going on before we jump into the great stuff with software? What's going on with the baseball team?
Well, I'm not too sure about Blue Jays this year, I guess. And you are talking about this because Cardinals are doing really good, I
You
guess.
believe it? They're like supposed to be in last place. They're doing good.
So sometimes I think everybody needs a reset button, and I think that's what Cardinals needed, and it's working for them, which is phenomenal.
Well, that's the one thing I don't like about the season. There's too many games, so we'll fall off at some point.
Yeah, we should. All right. Do you want to start on the story?
Yeah,
then?
we'll keep going. So we got Copado, which you guys might be more familiar than I am. They build DevOps tools for Salesforce, so that manages like code pipelines, testing, releases inside Salesforce. Salesforce has got a lot of stuff going on, and so the purpose of this launch is talking about Agentia, which is Salesforce's first delivery solution that embeds context-aware AI directly into the software delivery lifecycle. It governs and orchestrates AI agents, which is a big deal. I think that this as Salesforce pushes Agentforce into the enterprise production environment, this will be more of a bigger topic, I believe. And so I think, Thomas, you might want to start this off. And who does this benefit? What do the customers get out of it? What are the challenges ahead? And Donald, I think you'll probably be able to chime in as well. What do we think?
Well, let's start with who gets something out of it, or what's the impact. So, I mean, it will be quite meaningful if they actually manage to run safely within the Salesforce delivery pipeline. Which is, well, not that big of an if, I guess. There's also some, let's say, meaningful grounding in there in the release, because it makes the process more stable. Again, if it works, I mean, it's a press release, so there's always this remaining layer of doubt. But this surely has the potential to improve the implementation and delivery pipeline of any Salesforce implementer, be them partner or be them a client. What I don't like so much is, I mean, context-aware AI agents. What the heck these in 2026? An agent that doesn't have any context is not worth the A in agent. And
very true.
Well, if they refrain from a little bit of this buzzword stuff, that would be even more meaningful. Would have been more meaningful.
Well, I think also sorry to interrupt, but letting these agents have autonomous action inside Salesforce could be a little bit of a risk as well. Go, Donald. Do you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I think that is absolutely a risk. Fully autonomous execution and governance don't really sit particularly well together. But there's an advantage and a disadvantage to the Salesforce story, which is, if they're within Salesforce, then they're within a walled garden, and that's actually probably okay, especially if they're tightly aligned with Agentforce. However, that's not full business context, because most people I know don't just live in Salesforce. They may well have ServiceNow, they may well have custom apps. And how do you enroll that in the context, I think would be important. So I think we may have agents with inadequate context here, even though they're quite solid within the Salesforce environment. And the other thing that was missing from the press release, which I thought was quite a good press release, it's pretty light, but I like the fact that they had AXA insurance they had in there. They had a good customer quote in there already. But the thing that was missing was what's the distinction between, and I've got not sure about the levels. It was advanced level and pro level. What's the difference between advanced and pro? What do you get? What's the difference in pricing? And the fact that that's not there suggests to me that maybe that packaging isn't quite got worked out yet. And I just wonder how well thought out and how well rounded this is at this point. But I think the fact that it's within Salesforce is an advantage because it allows them to be more robust. But it's a ceiling as well, because if they're not able to enroll the other apps, the other platforms that people use, then it's not getting full business context.
100%. Yeah, I'd like to make a note on the customer reality point, kind of piggybacking off what Donald was saying right there. from my understanding, from Capado claims around, they have, around 15 to 1,700 customers, including the Coca-Colas of the world, Medtronics, Volkswagens. Had some customer outcomes of 20 times more frequent releases, faster time, 10 times faster testing, greater productivity. From my understanding, I think customers should really treat those numbers as best case scenario, like marketing math. I think these aren't necessarily independent audit numbers, and they're not really tied to this. And I think this is just a
good point. Yeah.
Very interesting topic because, Salesforce itself is also a risk to this, right? If Agentforce DevOps capabilities mature, this Salesforce only positioning, almost becomes a single point of failure. So, to your point earlier, Donald, about going out to other applications, I think would be necessary for this if they want to expand and maybe stay relevant in the future.
Yeah.
Sam, a quick question for you on this. How relevant is this on the scheme for Salesforce?
Yeah. So number one, I guess, Charles, to your comment, and I don't know if this is a marketing and messaging problem, and I know you guys like to talk about that, and I don't know if things are getting mixed up here with respect to Agentforce versus Salesforce. They might be loosely using it. Sometimes they use it for keywords because Agentforce might not have as much, keyword or attention, or, people might not know. So that could be a possibility. But I don't know if those two are different. That would be my take on this. Overall, when you look at Salesforce ecosystem, and just mind-blowing that even though it's a CRM sort of app, but it's almost like a development platform, right? And the number of applications that are being developed, not only for the external use cases, it's also going to be for their own ecosystem, and they would require all of this. Donald, you are right that if you have slightly more agnostic DevOps, AI-powered, that's what probably is going to be far more useful. But agnostic ones don't talk as well with these specific applications. So it's not that agnostic ones are always going to be a good solution as well, right? So you need both, and depending upon the context in terms of what you are, trying to accomplish. And Thomas, to your comment, I don't think AI agents are ever going to be good at context. That's not their deal. They are supposed to be purely execution focused. Give me input, I'll give you outputs.
For which they need context.
Well, they do.
The output is rubbish.
Yeah, they do. But as far as my understanding of AI and generative AI goes, and that's what, and I have read a lot of different books, and they all say that, AI is probably not going to be as good at context. Knowing context is what humans are really good at. I don't think, they can replicate 1 billion electrical signals, I guess, that we have in our brains. That's probably too expensive process. I know that it's trying to fake, but there's only so much you can fake. So
I think one thing that human beings are great at doing, especially experienced and innovative human beings, is we're actually creating context, creating new context, which is something that an AI, in a sense, cannot do. But we can look at a business and imagine new scenarios. And that gives human being a kind of an innovative insight, and also very often a kind of intuition about what's going on that the AI can't replicate. But I think this is, I know we're going to talk later about we're going to talk later about ECI, and they've got a very kind of automated process. These automated processes, they require context, but it's very tightly scoped. Within its scope, this is probably fine, but it's not that much of a scope. So.
Yeah,
true. In that case,
Talk about ECI then.
Okay, you want to move to that? Okay,
let's do that.
I kind of Okay.
Did you have a question or a thought, Donald?
No. I just obviously I preempted that one.
You jumped the gun.
I jumped the gun. I've been reading ahead.
So ECI software, they build ERP and business management software, focused really for small and medium-sized businesses, and they're what DCOM is, it's ERP for batch and process manufacturers like food and beverage and chemical. JobBoss is their platform for machine shops and job shops. So we know that they're not household names necessarily, but they've launched 2 new AI capabilities embedded into those systems, mostly focused, I would believe, on procurement. So payables, AI assistant for AI invoicing. I think these are pretty good, but they're not significant in my eyes as far as what their competitors might be doing, but the invoicing could automate, vendor invoice capture, matching, posting, general ledger, things like that. This is somewhat of a significant, I think, for the small businesses because they might not be able to do this, inherent in their companies because, or they might not have it already because they're doing everything manually. So these capabilities do help them out. So they benefit specifically the payables and those users that are using it. The goal of these ERP systems is to develop and have a system that's a competitive advantage that allows your business to grow with the same amount of people. So you're going to need things like this. But as we all know, that the data is not there, it's not going to work correctly. But this is a great place to start. Customers should benefit right away. And I do like the vision of this. I'd like to see more of this from this company. Well, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I would like to take this first. I think, first and foremost, ECI has done a pretty interesting job at growing, largely through M&A activity. I believe they acquired an MES company not too long ago, late last year. But really, this announcement, I really view this as almost table stakes with a lot of these ERP AI releases. You think about the SAP, Oracles, Infors, Epicors, Acumatica, Sage. Everyone has really released some sort of flavor in context assistant or AP automation. So yes, I do. To your point, Robert, this is quite valuable for these small to mid-sized businesses. I believe first is getting rolled out to DCOM and then JobBoss in the following weeks. But I think another thing, though, a lot of these customers tend to be older and on-premise. So I think that's also an upgrade. Conversations that need to happen first. Like all the AI realities, it goes back to the data, but I think the cloud is also super important. Think about compute, elasticity of the cloud. That's something I find a lot of ECI customers still tend to be a little older on-prem. So maybe they'll take advantage of this, maybe they don't. Maybe this sparks that kind of transformation. But it's interesting. But I've seen this quite often.
It's everywhere. Yeah. And there are two minor announcements in this one document. One is let me put it the cynic way, the German way. It's a glorified help system, which, thanks to WalkMe, we have since, don't know how old WalkMe is, 20 years now. So a contextual help system, answering system questions, right? And the other one is, posting matched invoices, which is something that we are doing for more than a decade as well. What strikes me in particular is the statement, it can autonomously post 100% matched invoices. No, not 100% of matched invoices, but 100% matched invoices. Yeah, which others? Do you want to post unmatched invoices? So this is not only almost table stakes, this is a desperate cry for attention.
Well,
sorry, I'm just from a formal point of view, but without knowing ECI in detail. Yeah. But this is thin, very thin.
I think that's somewhat fair.
To start.
Pardon?
I mean, my point earlier was that it's very, similar to the, similar to the Salesforce integration. It's very tightly scoped. And therefore, it's limited in its capabilities because it's very tightly scoped, which is both its advantage and its disadvantage. And this is so tightly scoped that it is just table stakes. But for the target customers, these capabilities built into their ERP could actually be very valuable. And these target customers, these SMB customers, are not going to be able to go and experiment very much with AI. They just don't have the bandwidth. They don't have the bandwidth to experiment, and they don't have the cushion to get things wrong. They don't have the buffer to make mistakes. So having something which is tightly scoped and reliable within their ERP actually is pretty valuable to them. That's
and don't say it's not valuable. What I do say is that every other one has it as well. Every other one. So that means they are late to the game.
They're late to the game, but there's a lot of, ERP systems are very sticky. So it's not as if there's going to be a lot of, Josh mentioned, Infor, Epicor, all those others. There's not a lot of migrations from, what was theirs? JobBoss? There's not a lot of migrations from JobBoss to Epicor. So the fact that they're behind doesn't matter quite that much. What does matter is, can they do this with accuracy and reliability? And if they've got that right, then this is actually a pretty good announcement. For the
Well, when they
customers.
stay sticky, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, great comments, and I can provide some context in terms of ECI. And Charles, you are right that they have acquired a lot of different companies in the past. Here, and Thomas, I kind of agree with you. Maybe my points may be different overall in terms of the capabilities, but you are right that even though everything is sort of reading AI. But it's not the same AI as what you are going to find with the other vendors. And sometimes it gets very confusing. So the one that these guys are talking about, it's almost coming across as if they are doing a little bit of RPA matching. And this is what was happening probably 5 years back. And when you talk about AR, AP automation, they have acquired some of those products as well, Charles. I don't know if you caught up on those stories, right? A lot of ERP vendors don't want to get into the whole financial operations space. That is how they are branding. For example, SAP is not trying to get into the business of black line. These two are two completely different categories, product categories. For ECI's marketplace, you can offer very integrated solution, but then you lose the integration as well as ecosystem that you are going to build. In general, ECI is a very prescriptive vendor. Everything, you either have ECI or you don't have ECI. Right?
Sounds familiar.
Exactly. And a lot of prescriptive vendors are like that. And sometimes, they just don't have enough market, to be completely honest, to be able to attack because they are taking very regimented approach that either it's going to be this or not this. So in this particular case, again, I think this is not the real agentic AI that you are going to find with some of the other ERP vendors. They have far richer capabilities. They are way ahead in the game, I would say, even though obviously these guys are getting some AI coverage in media, which is good. But this is not the same AI or agentic capabilities that other mainstream vendors are trying to create. And by the way, ECI, the market share is very consumerized. They don't have as large logos as the other ERP vendors. And a lot of products that they have acquired, they had very low market share as well. So obviously they don't have the same market share as well, revenue, as what you're going to find with other products. So you are only going to have so much R&D budget. So I don't know where and how you can compete with some of these larger vendors.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Sam. Do you think that the vendors are doing this right? I kind of feel like they're doing it like upside down. They're only talking about themselves here. They talk about the capabilities. There's nothing here that speaks to, hey, this is what we're going to help the customers in their journey. Here's what's next after these capabilities. To me, this is just like a little sprinkle, but the customers need. If I was a manufacturer, this doesn't do enough for me. I want to know what's next and what's next. I want to see more, and I don't understand what my outcome is going to be. If I invest in this, what's next? Like, I don't want to just go to first base and stop. I think this is a slim beginning of what I need.
So, Robert, to respond to that comment, in this particular space, the kind of customers that you are going to have, they have zero idea what they are doing. Okay, in terms of their technology implementation, I'll tell you this. Okay,
Sure,
because the way they buy an ERP, their ERP buying is going to be, okay, do you have AI? Okay, do you have this? So this is the feature match list, checklist. Okay, and when you have that kind of customer, you need to please them. That's what vendors are doing here. They are not wrong. Right? So now, if you are that customer and if you have no idea how to buy technology or how to utilize, that's on you. That's not on the vendors, right? So again, AI is not necessarily for a company that is doing $5 million in revenue, I guess. Sure, you can have access to ChatGPT and consumerize technology, but when you look at enterprise workflows from the AI perspective, it's a much heavier lift. It's not going to be easy. First, you have to figure out, how to do your processes, data, the basics, Robert, the ones that you talk about. But they all are, chasing shiny objects. They all want AI.
Yeah, well, I think Don, you're going to say something. I'm going to probably say something after that. What were you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that, yes, they all want AI. They are all chasing shiny objects. The one thing that we're seeing here is that we're seeing AI in an increasingly narrowly defined scenarios. And that seems very important because most of these vendors have actually built their reputations on having almost like a prescriptive methodology. You know, they know how to do sales, they know how to do manufacturing, and therefore they build their products around that methodology. And AI, in some ways, that's the only way that they can stand up against a general purpose AI when that comes, which is capable of doing anything. They have to have an opinion about what it is. So that people come to them and say, you know, we're going to do this the ECI way, or we're going to do this whatever kind of way. We'll do it the Salesforce way, we'll do it the ECI way, we'll do it the Infor way. They have to choose a methodology rather than just a set of capabilities, because the capabilities will all be table stakes. And so I think we're on the edge of that, and I think we're starting to see that now with the AI being integrated into these methodologies, not just into products, but actually into these tightly scoped methodological approaches.
What do you think, Charles? You talk about this space a lot.
I think these capabilities are table stakes, and it's interesting to see though, because to Sam's point, these manufacturers, these SMB companies, aren't necessarily knowing the direction they go in. They still don't really understand the different flavors of AI. So I still think there's a lot of education that needs to be done for the customers so that A, they understand this and find value with it, and then B, to your point too, about knowing what's ahead and what is to come. I think with ECI, since they have acquired so many companies, they have like a million different user interfaces. From what I've seen through demos, like each of their product almost has a different UI. So they have a lot they need to do overall with the company. I think they are moving in the right direction. And with these capabilities, I feel like I've seen this in every press release from all the vendors, but curious to see how the adoption goes at the end of the day.
Okay. Sam, anything else, or should we move to the next one?
Let's move to the next one. If you guys don't mind.
Somebody's got a little background noise. I'm not sure whose household that is, but anyway, just want to call that out. Okay, so we have Invoice Cloud. They unveil a new AI-powered billing experience, and who they are, they provide digital billing and payment solutions for utilities, local governments, insurance companies, which we all love. So they have more than 3,200 organizations use it. So it sits between the organization and the people paying their bills, handling the present collections, the reconciliations, etc. So what's great about this announcement is they launched the AI-powered billing experience. So it's an evolution of its core platform that puts AI into the daily workflow. I'm assuming they'll be able to have more information at their fingertips as far as the dashboards. The agents will be able to help with the reconciliations. The information will be more plentiful to the people using it, to the ones collecting the money, of course. I think this is probably something standard that's going on in many of these types of practices. It brings more of the information, if you have it, to the forefront. Like I said, if you have it, I think this can be helpful in regulated industries as well with that information too. This should benefit the customers, but also be a pretty big benefit to the parties that are collecting the money. What do we think about this? And is this a big deal, or is this standard practice and a big deal? Why don't we start with what do you think, Thomas?
Now that I'm back, trying to have reduced the background noise.
Was that you?
Any of you? Don't know if it went away after I went on mute. Then yes.
Yeah, it did go away, Thomas. So I think we are good.
Someone was catching an alligator.
Thomas, if you want to start, you can, or I can start.
You start. I collect my thoughts again. I'm mostly.
I think you'll need some time. Okay, so I'll start here. So here, I guess, I mean, guys, this will be more in that financial operations space that I was talking about. This is also in that billing and payment, space. So this sort of overlaps with the CPQ workflows a little bit. It does get into the contract lifecycle management sometimes, at least from the customer perspective, not from the vendor perspective. So they are talking about AI powered, but I don't know if I could see any specific industries that they are going after, or which particular ecosystem they are aligned with. I have no idea, where they come from. That would be my take, because the billing experience and the CPQ workflows are very, very, very unique, per product, per industry, per micro industry. So sometimes talking about industries is helpful, and talking about specific products as well, because that could provide us some indication where they play, I guess.
What are you thinking, Donald or Charles?
Well, I was thinking, I don't necessarily know too much about this company, but from my understanding of this press release, the language was heavy on design to, potential, estimated, advancing complementary capabilities. I think really showing that the service agent, this intelligence layer, and the reconciliation agent are on the roadmap. It's not really generally available. So I really think the purpose built for billing is really the only differentiating claim they have against generic LLM tools. And it's only as strong as the willingness of like these utility CIOs to trust the underlying CIS integration. So I think for companies already on Invoice Cloud, this has incremental value, turn it on. But I think for prospects, this announcement really doesn't move the needle that much against competitors, which I believe are, to Sam's point, are definitely making similar claims. So I think the choice really still comes down to the CIS integration depth, total cost, and the customer support quality. But I mean, overall, this is something I think is just more as a roadmap item. Sounds good, but it's nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that they specialize obviously in these kind of regulated industries and utilities and things, and their sort of cycles move very slowly. And I wonder, if something which is an announcement like this, which is kind of relatively low impact, it's yet another kind of table stakes announcement in an industry that actually moves quite slowly. It's we may not see the effect of this for quite a long time in their business. It feels to me like it's not going to move the needle for anyone.
Yep.
No, it won't. I mean, it needs to be purpose built, right? There's no way around it, especially where the scenarios are regulated. What I'm wondering is, as I heard the short-term LLM again, whether they are not using a tabular model, because what they are ultimately doing is they're working with structured data, and they are saying predictive, and an LLM is not good at predicting. An LLM is good at formulating this prediction that some other model has done in words, so that you and I can understand it actually. So from that perspective, I fully agree this doesn't move the needle much, if at all. This is another cry for attention. Hey, I have AI too. Actually, they already lost me at AI-powered billing experience. That gave me the shivers. Yes, there will be an impact if, and only if, this functionality that they now deliver reduces tickets by means of, let's call it deflection, or solutions, better word is solutions, delivered by their service agent. If the collections go better and easier, if reconciliation is shortened. And only then there's an improvement delivered by what they claim to have built in this. Only then.
Yeah.
So, guys, just one minor point there. Overall, I don't think it's a fair comparison of their capabilities to an LLM. And the reason for that is because I don't know about you guys.
Well,
in this particular case, you have to connect your bank account. Okay. So I don't know how many of you are comfortable connecting your bank account. You can as well give it to me. I'll take really good care of that.
I'll send
That's a perfect.
Yeah.
So here, the secret sauce for these guys and the financial operations platform that we have, and that's why I mentioned initially as well that ECI is getting into that space, but then you are competing with banks. You don't want to compete with banks. It's not fair. It's brutal to compete with banks. Okay, you want to leave that space as much as possible. So here you are really competing with payment providers and banks. And in this case, payment providers and banks, they are trying to create these technologies as well. So I don't know if Invoice Cloud is going to have a sustainable business model. Maybe they are going to align themselves with some of these payment providers as well as bank. So that's their secret sauce. Now, LLM might be able to do these activities, but from the political alignment perspective, they are trying to do the bank integration. That's the first thing of all of the financial operations platform. Then everything else they can do is secondary. But the core is really bank integration.
All right, let's move on. We got some other stories. There's some really good ones. Pipefy and Microsoft collaborating, and Pipefy. Is that how you say it, Sam?
Pipefy, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a great name that nobody can say, I guess.
Yeah,
Good job.
Letters, I can't get it out, but it's a business process automation platform. They're Brazilian, over 150 countries they're in, 4,000 customers, and they let organizations build workflow automations and connect enterprise systems using low-code interface. They have a new partnership with Microsoft, basically to put their product, I believe, they'll list it in the Microsoft marketplace. This should have access to Microsoft Foundry, which is Microsoft's AI infrastructure for building on its models and services. So this will help them help companies build joint AI projects with Microsoft on top of their infrastructures. This announcement, I believe, it's pretty important from the distribution standpoint, but also puts Pipefy in front of enterprise Microsoft shops that would not otherwise evaluate them. So I think that's positive. I would assume there's always going to be pros and cons and challenges. We'll let you guys dive into that. But what do we think of this this partnership? Donald, we'll start with you.
Just being on the marketplace is a good thing. I mean, it gives them great exposure, and it means that they'll become visible to a lot more of Azure customers. What they have to do now is be able to distinguish themselves from Microsoft's own Power Automate. And it's all very well being on the marketplace, but they're now in the marketplace alongside Power Automate, which has got a much lower impedance to get into any customer who's already on Azure. So they have this tricky balance now. How do you create enough distinction to be separate from it, to be better and more more saleable than the Microsoft product, at the same time take advantage of being in the marketplace right alongside it?
Well, do you think it was constructed for that competitiveness or for other reasons? It seems like it would be for other reasons.
Yeah, I mean, the other reasons are, once you're on the marketplace, it's really, it becomes much easier for people to adopt you. You can just use your existing Azure, Azure licenses to get the software. So that impedance is gone. But there's going to be no motivation, particularly for a Microsoft salesperson, to push this product compared to, say, compared to Power Automate. So how they make that distinction isn't clear to me. How they give them a strong enough brand to attract people. They'll get more eyeballs. Whether they actually get more click-through and sell-through, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to Donald's point, right, I think with Power Automate, it's already bundled into Microsoft 365, which already has a very large install base and has the aggressive Copilot Studio with these agent capabilities. So, almost Pipefy's like defensive positioning, is reasonable. But this collaboration I think this is ultimately a good way to sell into Microsoft accounts without, really being displaced by Power Automate, but it doesn't really solve that risk, ultimately postpones it. And the way I see it, I really just thought this was really just, nothing really that crazy, but more of like a market listing plus an Azure consumption commitment. I feel like we see Microsoft sign a lot of these, but that's really my opinion on it.
Similar. I mean, they certainly will get some eyeballs.
Yeah.
They are putting themselves into a Shark Tank, basically, because I don't really see where they deliver something that Microsoft doesn't, actually.
Yeah.
And a couple of other Microsoft partners as well, with the exception of probably joint Microsoft and Oracle accounts. So that have partly one side and partly the other sides. When a buyer, wants to keep or limit the exposure to getting ring-fenced by one of the bigger vendors that they are using, and do not have the capability and ability to buy his service now, for example. Yeah. So this is probably the niche that they are looking at. But this needs to be something that's probably communicated a little better as well, because else they are running exactly the risk that you just mentioned.
Yeah. So, guys, from my perspective, I guess I'll provide some background on Pi-Fi as well. And I don't know, we have had a lot of different stories on Analysts Gone Wild, and I don't know how many different you guys have caught up on, right? So Pi-Fi, they were going after literally every single consulting firm out there. Okay, and what Oracle had done in the market is they were very tightly aligned with Pi-Fi. And I was like, okay, is Pi-Fi going to be acquired? There is a possibility. You never know, right? So that was the wave that I was personally tracking, and I was really excited about that. Okay, now you guys made a very interesting comparison with Power Automate, right? And Pi-Fi. I don't think that's a fair comparison, because Power Automate is supposed to be a low-code, no-code tool. Obviously, now some people might argue that low-code, no-code is the new AI native, workflow development tool. I don't believe so. I think when you talk about the real AI native development tool, it's very different positioning. And I think Pi-Fi is the only one which has probably attention from the large consulting firm, because they care for these larger business processes. And I don't know how that works and how successful they are, but right now, I mean, these guys are doing really good business from the consulting perspective. That is the division that is really growing among those consulting firms. So obviously Pi-Fi is going to be a factor. Now, if Microsoft does not align with Pi-Fi, then they are going to miss that bus. And I think Amazon is doing that as well. There is a little bit of comment there. We saw one story last week or previous week that they are doing, Claude, and everybody's trying to tap into enterprise market. Right now, I would think the enterprise market is predominantly consumed by Pi-Fi. ServiceNow is a very interesting comparison as well, Thomas, you are right. They are trying to attack, but they have done a lot of acquisitions as well. I don't think they could pretend the existing ServiceNow platform as the new...
and they have another price tag.
Exactly. So they have done a lot of acquisitions. So that's where I think I don't think Microsoft has acquired any specific, vendors, and they are really into development. So they are behind, and that's why they are trying to lining up, with these guys, because obviously if they want to sell Azure, they want to have this, because this is where the market is moving. At this point of time from the infrastructure perspective. So I don't know if Google, I don't see any announcement from Google what they are trying to do. Amazon has moved. Obviously, that is AWS play. This is Azure play. And then finally, you have Oracle play. I don't know if Google has done something similar.
Didn't you follow Google Next? They moved, well, it's 2 weeks ago now, so it's far in the internet past. But this was quite a strong play of theirs.
So tell me more. So what is that? Is it for enterprise? I mean, Google is not really in the enterprise market, so they are not necessarily interested in that.
But they partnered up with a bunch of enterprise business vendors to do exactly what Pi-Fi and Microsoft, or Pi-Fi wants to do on Microsoft. ServiceNow countered that as well right now. SAP, I think, will do next week. And from a Microsoft angle, we'll probably wait till... their next big conference, Enable, or what's the name of the conference?
So that's very interesting. So tell me more about that story. So are there any names? Are they comparable to Pi-Fi? Do you know which names are we talking about?
They are all, Google partnered pretty much with everybody who has a name in the enterprise vendor world in order to be the strongest orchestration layer. Building and orchestration layer. They partner pretty much with everybody. Announced that very loudly. So this was really very loud. So I can push a couple of my articles into the channel here, where I covered that. So micros, if the angle that is right that you are just pronouncing, then this is a wait and see game for Microsoft till they have a real game plan.
Yeah, that's very interesting comment. I think we have already spent too much time on the story. We can touch on that some other time. I don't know if you want to move to the next story, Robert.
Yeah,
But we can talk about Google if you like.
Yeah.
The next one.
So let's go to the next one, Airship. I'm gonna kind of rip on this just a little bit. I would say any marketer should not say first. I'm the first. I'm the best. I'm the this. I'm the that. I think it's a huge negative. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's doing something similar, and if they're not, I still don't think it adds no value at all.
Let's add to that, Robert. They also should avoid the word the.
Yeah,
but should say a because there surely is a second one.
I think it's there's too much marketing. They have a major expansion. They're the first. So, anyways, Airship is a mobile customer experience platform. They operate. They've been operating for about 15 years. They build infrastructure that the consumer brands use, push notifications, SMS, in-app messages, etc. I've never used them. I'm not familiar with them. The purpose is they've expanded with their AI agent fleet and introduced a new campaign AI agents at their recent event, which is called Elevate 26, not Elevate IQ. So Sam, I don't know. I think that this is sounds pretty marketing to me. Hopefully it's a positive. I think that someone has to clear the air that agents are a tool and they don't work unless you have data. And all this is, I was talking to some other companies today, and I said, stop putting the word AI in everything you do. It's okay to talk about your products and how they benefit your customers. We know that you have AI. We know that you need it, but tell them that it's not going to work and focus unless they have the data. Get the data right, and then things will work out. And I think, Sam, maybe you address this with your customers. I don't think the real technology is hit yet. I think it's coming in the next couple of years when we hit full event-driven systems. And if you don't have your data ready then all this is for nothing. So this is kind of a little bit of a rant on picking on this company, but I think that, it's all we do is talk about AI, and we know it's great, but it doesn't work unless it's put in correctly and you have your system set up in the way it should be. All right, who's next?
Well, I think
all I can say is if I can't use the word AI and I can't use the word the, my articles are going to be a lot shorter.
I don't think I can find a press release without first, so I don't think we are going to have this show.
You are not a press release person, so you may use AI and the.
There is something about this that bothers me. This announcement. There's lots of things that bother me about the overblown aspect of it.
Yeah.
But Airship have been mobile first for years, ever since they started. And is mobile still where it's at? Is mobile engagement really where the growth is? I'm not sure it is anymore. I've got kind of web push, CTV or
it's a platform. It's a platform. I don't know how far. I think it has to be addressed. I don't know what their ROI is. I don't know. I think it's probably not as plentiful as like what you just mentioned.
Look, continuing on the bashing that you started, Robert. Over the air has changed. So they need to reposition from mobile to something else. And what is closer after metaverse is dead, crypto is dead, to use AI? What's closer than that? And it aligns with the first two letters of their name, right? So it's probably soon a ship instead of airship. And from a press release itself, from a content point of view, this is, I think, the most buzzword-laden one in the group of 10 that we had today. So there are not very content-rich on this, and this is what I'm actually missing. Yeah. So is it meaningful? Maybe, but there's no indication of any proof.
Well, I think all this AI discussion doesn't necessarily help the customers. It confuses them because
not at all.
They can't figure out which direction they need to go. If they're supposed to go left, right, up, no, north, south, whatever. It's completely exhausting, I would think.
Yeah, we should not talk about they should not talk about the tool use, but the outcomes. We have that since the episode 1 of this show, right? Bloody focus on outcomes, on result. What does what I announce here, how does what I announce here actually help anybody?
Yeah, we know you have an agent. We know that you're developing them. I don't even know if those agents work for me. I don't know how to control them. Tell me what my outcome will be if I do what you're saying, and what I have to have in place to get that outcome. None of that's talked about. They're the first.
In this plug here, we clearly have a company that could need some help from analysts.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question to you guys. Do you guys have you guys come across them? Do you guys track them by any chance? Anybody in the room? I personally don't have any experience on them.
No, that's what I mentioned originally. I have not come across them.
So
go ahead.
So sounds like, nobody has really any experience with them, and I don't either. And I'm a bit confused as you guys are, because when you read airship, my brain goes towards supply chain. And I don't know if this is supply chain company or not. Maybe it is, maybe not. Maybe it is e-commerce, Charles. A little bit, but it reads then mobile first customer experience is what they are talking about. So I'm gonna put them into that CX bucket, okay? But then they are talking about fleet here. So I'm back again in supply chain.
It's actually so funny you mentioned that, because when I wasn't familiar with this company and I saw airship, I was like, all right. And I saw AI agent fleet. I was like, oh, this is a supply chain.
Supply chain, right?
I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And then next thing I know, I see SMS, push, email. I'm like, wait, what is this? This is not what I thought it was at first. I literally was just
likewise
100%. And to Robert's point, the industry first AI agent fleet. Every major customer engagement vendor, I believe, is making these structurally identical claims, like every single one. So I don't think that's really anything. And then there's something about zero developer time. That is a marketing claim every no-code CX vendor has made for like a decade, in my opinion. In practice, integrating event streams, identity resolution, and consent management still requires that data engineering. So I think this is to all your points you're making. There are no customer ROI numbers quoted in this release, which is to tell that early adopters haven't even generated any quotable wins yet, in my opinion. So,
go ahead.
What this basically is a repositioning, or a part of a repositioning that it's going on for a bit more than a year, maybe 2 years right now. Sam's allusion to logistics and shipping is quite right, because what they started off with, or what they do, is shipping messaging.
Sorry, what's that? Shipping messaging?
Shipping distribution of messaging. So it's customer engagement, basically, or marketing to customers.
Sure. So now customer engagement is supply chain then?
No, not the part of building or building it, but the part that in physics UPS does, getting it to where it belongs. So that originally, if I'm not totally off, to mobile devices. As Don said right in the beginning, is mobile still a thing? No, not really. It's just there.
To what Charles said, I think it's super important to identify user examples here. So there's nothing on here that talks about what the customers are getting out of this, or some experiences they had. In marketing, you have to pair it to a practical outcome, and one that's actually happened, and multiples. That's what we want to hear. When you go buy something, you don't want to be the first to buy it. Do you ever go you the first to walk in a new restaurant when it just opens? You let it all the kinks work out. This is what references are for. This is what Yelp is for. This is what we're for. So you have to be able to have examples to back up what your claims are, and it has to be less marketing, more outcomes. So, okay.
I'm going to be a little bit nice to them here and break the habit.
At least one of us.
Which is, to be fair, this press release is targeted at a conference. It's a press release. It's not a standalone press release announcing this as a sort of generic to a general audience. It's very much tied to the conference content. So we might cut them a little bit of slack there, just because a lot of the questions that we've got would presumably be answered at the conference. I think they're sponsoring the conference. They said.
But I agree with you, but you don't produce anything, and not to pick on anything you just said, I don't think you ever do a document that it can't stand alone, because if it gets sent out somehow, it has to have its own valid information inside.
I don't disagree. I was just trying to find a little chink of light there, man.
Well, it's fine. It's a little.
He's trying to be positive.
We've got 5 minutes to go, so I'm trying to get a little bit of positivity sneaked in.
Donald is always trying that.
You're right.
Well, do we want to do one more, or we want to go through?
He's not going wild.
We can do one more if you want, Robert. Hopefully we can finish, or
let's just go quick.
Okay.
Clary and SalesSoft merged now to operate as a combined revenue orchestration platform. The purpose of this is really to add more value to what they're doing. So Clary's forecasting and pipeline insights are connected directly to SalesLoft's execution layer. And allowing teams to act in the same workflow. I don't have a tremendous amount of information about the two of them. I'm assuming this is a positive thing. What do the customers get out of it? Do you guys like it? Connecting forecasting to execution is obviously a big deal if the information is there and can help the value of what the people using it are doing. I believe that the MCP, is a part of the equation as well. But Donald or Thomas or Charles, what do you think?
That's a net positive, quite positive actually, because it's combining two disjoint functionalities that are helpful in themselves, but only limitedly helpful. So if you combine them, you can get some real benefit as a sales rep or as a sales manager, as a CCO. You can get some real benefit out of it if this integration works, which I suspect, else they wouldn't have been stated it that boldly. And also from a wording point of view, in contrast to many other ones, this is content rich, not only context rich, it's content rich. So they are coming actually with values and data points that one can work with. So I'm pretty positive about that one to start on a positive, end on a positive note.
I think that's fair. I mean, I think the fact that you can see engagement and revenue kind of side by side here, it's actually that's actually very good. That's a good combination of capabilities that were siloed and are now brought together. So I think that is very positive.
Good point.
Here's my opinion on this. I don't really know too much about the field here, but I think this is like the first product announcement 5 months after this merger, and it's really not around the platform consolidation. It's really around this like UI level integration that you were just talking about, plus this externalization play with the MCP server, which are very useful. Don't get me wrong, but this doesn't really resolve the underlying duplication of conversation intelligence stacks, the engagement stacks, or the forecasting. So I think that's something that needs to be taken care of. But at the end of the day, I think this is where the market is going, but it also needs to concede the AI orchestration value layer, to OpenAI, Anthropic, Microsoft, Google, and Salesforce. But like I said, I think that's my main opinion on this.
Points?
Yeah. So my perspective on this one is going to be very similar to you guys. I don't have anything else to add except, this is just me to MCP story. I don't see much in the story. Sorry, Donald. Sorry to disappoint. Maybe not as positive as you were hoping, but what can I do, man? I'm not getting the right press releases here. This is a little exhausting when you keep seeing, MCP, and I don't know, if there is anything much here in the story.
Well, MCP is not much, but the story behind it is.
Let's hit the wrap thing.
Okay.
We'll get a good wrap. So for everybody listening, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to everybody. So for all of you, you should wish your wives, your
Yeah.
your mothers, your grandmothers, everybody happy Mother's Day. It's a big weekend for all of us, even though some of us have to travel on Mother's Day, which I can't believe SAP did that to us, although I'm leaving later in the afternoon. But let's go to you, Charles. What's your weekend looking like? What's your next couple of weeks? Anything you want to say to the crowd?
Yeah, well, obviously, first and foremost, happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers out there. I don't believe any of us would be around without a mother figure in this world. So this weekend, got a dinner tonight. Gonna stay active, playing tennis and whatnot in my free time. But yeah, I'm
free time.
Yeah, well, hey, limited free time. Yeah, I've got to make the most of it. So. Traveling this weekend for SAP, and then Epicor the week after, and then I go into Europe for 09 Summit first week of June. So very, very busy, but like I said earlier, busy is good for business. So staying on top of everything, and great conversations today, everyone.
Good. Donald, how about you?
I've got a ton of writing to do over the next week, so that's pretty good. And I've got a friend coming to visit me in 30 minutes, and he has a new kind of technology he's building in the analytics space, and we are going to walk and talk. And we do this every sort of quarter almost. We walk for about an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes, just talking about technology. He's a fascinating guy. That's going to be the highlight of my week. And it's in 30 minutes time, so let's wrap this up.
Good for you. We're 2 minutes away from that. Thomas, what about yourself at the elevator?
Well, I repeat the good wishes for Mother's Day. And well, the mothers of our kids as well, including them, not only our mothers. Yeah, what's in store? Writing, project management, event preparation. So a lot of stuff. And maybe even a bit of sailing.
That sounds nice. Well, I'll be celebrating Mother's Day on Sunday, then jumping on a plane to SAP. The following week, I'll be at Epicor, and then a few weeks later, I'll be at Snowflake. So keeping busy. But like you all said, nothing puts us here except their mother. So let's enjoy the Sunday with them. I know, Sam, this will be a special one for you. So what's on your agenda coming up?
Yeah, so Sunday is fairly occupied, I guess, with Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all beautiful mothers out there. So weekend is going to be fairly occupied in that. My kids are going to enjoy. So do you want to wrap, Robert?
Yeah, we're good. This is a great episode, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. We meet every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. So I'll see you next week.
All right, have a great night,
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.